Hey, welcome to Unpack Ray. I'm your host, Norris Poe Johnson. I have me, First Lady Kiki.
Hello, everyone.
That's it? That's all you got for me?
That's all I got.
And before we get the party started and talk to my new brother in fitness, brother Steve, you know, the fitness world is very small and intimate, and you can meet anyone, anytime, any place. And I'm happy the brother was willing to come do this because he doesn't know me personally and never met the man, never spoke to the man personally. So this is going to be very interesting. But last week upload for Brenda Williams, we must give her congratulations. She's currently sitting at 345 views. 32 likes and 25 comments. That's 345 views. 32 likes and 25 comments. So go Brenda. Go Brenda. That's all I can say. That is the most viewed episode ever that we had ever in this history of podcast. But hey, we'll see what happens in the future. But salute to you, Brenda, because that was outstanding. She jumped in the comments. She actually responded to the people. And that's something I recommend everybody do when they come to this podcast because it helped the conversation go a little bit longer.
That's awesome, Brenda.
When you jump in and you respond to what people's questions are.
Because you're engaged.
Yes, it showed that she was engaged. All right. We'll be talking to Brother Steve. Is he ready? Let's do this.
There we go. I'm in.
And I'm already jealous because he got the guns going. Guns out. I'm already jealous. No, I'm rolling up my sleeves, baby. I'm rolling up my sleeves.
That's why I just get rid of them all together. Ain't got to worry about rolling them up.
We have with us USPA champion. This man be deadlifting, power cleaning. He does it all. I respect the sport. I'm about to get into the sport, so I have so many questions, and I hope I can get some answers. But we gonna talking to him, my fitness brother. I just met him maybe 2 weeks ago, brother Steve. How are you doing?
Good, Norris, man. Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, what got you into fitness?
Well, as in high school and everything, I was an athlete. I was a basketball player, believe it or not. And I guess I started, lifting weights and everything like that to try to improve my game at the time.
Okay, and I noticed on your post, everybody was saying something about Cipher 5. Normally, that's either Marines or the Army. So I know you served some type of time somewhere. Where did you serve at?
Yep, United States Marine Corps.
I was right on the money. How was your experience in the Marine Corps?
What's that?
How was your experience in the Marine Corps? You want to go into that?
Oh, it was great for discipline. It taught me a lot of things that are life lessons that you can't learn anywhere else. You appreciate things that you wouldn't gain appreciation for elsewhere. And it was definitely a life-changing experience for sure.
First Lady.
Well, I know you said you started lifting in high school and then you went into the Marine Corps. How did that fit into your fitness when you went into the Marine Corps? Because I know you go through the basic training. I mean,
right.
You able to continue with the lifting?
Well, not in boot camp. When you first get there, essentially all of your exercises, like it's just body weight exercise. They do a lot of pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, running, calisthenics. So they were more focused on just general fitness, and okay. I was unable to continue until I got out to the fleet, until I got out of boot camp. Matter of fact, I think I went into boot camp weighing 191 solid pounds muscle, and I think I graduated 3 months later at the end of boot camp at like 168. So they strip away, any excess muscle and all that. They kind of pare you down as much as they can, but I was able to regain it quickly once I got into the fleet. And then lifting is really big in the Marine Corps, quite a bit.
Why do you think they toned you down some? Because that's quite a bit of weight you lost there.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think it's the focus on, because my frame wasn't that huge to start with. Like I said, I was a basketball player in high school. So, I guess I was broad shouldered, but I wasn't one of the big bone kids or anything. So the muscle I gained, I worked hard for. And then when I got in, the fact that I wasn't able to do the resistance training with the weights and everything kind of pared away the muscle that built up to that time. And doing so much running, I mean, we were running, geez, 3-5 miles a day at least.
Wow.
In addition to everything else. And I think that they do that because in the field, a lot of extra muscle doesn't always do you the best advantage. Because, you have to get into small spaces. You have to be able to, hide from the enemy. You have to be able to move quickly and efficiently up and over and around things, under things. So, being jacked out in the field is not always your best friend.
I got you.
That was a great follow-up question, Kimberly. I'm proud of you. Now, I have a good follow-up question. I was just now outside with one of my Marine buddies a few days ago looking at videos, and he was literally about to cry because he remembered the experience. And he's like, they almost broke me. Did you ever have a time when you had a breaking point in the Marine Corps?
I mean, their job was to do that to us almost daily. I mean, I can think of a couple particular instances. One time it was people think I'm making it up because it's almost like straight out of remember that old movie, Richard Gere, Officer and a Gentleman? Lou Gossett Jr. was his drill sergeant, and they exercised him until he was nearly dead. Well, I had a staff sergeant there, drill instructor named Staff Sergeant Gardner. I'll never forget him. He was actually the fastest man on Parris Island at the time. He was running his 3 minutes in like 14. His run is 3 miles in like 14 minutes. Guy was astonishingly fast. But he tried to break me, and he pulled me behind the buildings on the rifle range, and he tried to just what they call PT, physically train me to death. I was doing sit-ups, mountain climbers, push-ups, pull-ups, anything I could do, and he wouldn't let me stop, and he kept trying to break me. But luckily, he met me at my forte. Trying to be in shape was my thing. If he had went after me more mentally, he might have got me, but he went after me physically, and I just told him I wouldn't quit. And eventually he gave up and took me back into the platoon.
Wow. Sweet Pea?
Wow. So once you came out of the Marines, how long after that did you get back into your weight training?
Oh, well, I was like I said, when I was actually in the fleet as a fleet Marine, I mean, I was lifting all the time. So I got right back into it right after boot camp, and my training stopped, my infantry training. So I was constantly lifting. And then I would say once I got out of the Marines, I tried to pursue it a little more seriously, but my knowledge as a young man just wasn't there. I mean, I'm 48 now. I'm almost 49. So we take for granted all the information that's at everybody's fingertips nowadays. I mean, I used to have to buy up the muscle magazines and, do a lot of trial and error. And, back then, a lot of the old heads weren't as quick to share their secrets. They don't want anybody gaining on them. So you had to try to learn things for yourself. And, I succeeded in some ways, but now I look back, and if I had known, some of the training processes that I do now, I wish I'd been able to start those 20 years earlier.
Now, as a person who's about to get into the sport of powerlifting, first and foremost, when did you get into the sport of powerlifting, and how was your first meet? And did you just like, oh crap, what the hell did I get myself into?
Well, actually, the first thing I got into was I don't know if you're familiar with a sport called strongman.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started with strongman, and some friends of mine down there in I forget what part of Maryland you said you're in. They're down there in Severna Park. It's a place called My Fitness, and they had some strongman implements at the time. Like they had a log and they had some stones and kegs and stuff. And I went down there one day because my buddy told me he could try to deadlift a car. So they had the apparatus set up to deadlift a car. And I went down there and I did that and I enjoyed it. And come to find out, talking to them, it was actually something that you could compete in locally. They had some strongman competitions. So without like any formal training at all with strongman, just like 2 or 3 sessions there, like pulling a truck with a rope, hand over hand, and deadlifting the car and lifting a few kegs, I was like, hey, I'll give this a shot. So I went out to my first competition out there, and I think it was out in, I want to say, oh shoot, it was somewhere like Lexington Park or something like that, I say. And I went to my first competition there. I finished about middle of the pack because, I mean, my techniques for some of these lifts were just, you know, I was just going on raw strength. I had no idea how to do half of the movements that they were doing. So I caught the bug with that. Did several strongman competitions over the course of a year or two. But I got caught up in strongman. It's a very big, it's body weight driven to me. There's no classes as far as weight classes like there are in, for example, USPA powerlifting. So if you're weighing 230, you could be competing against a guy that weighs 350. And the sheer size of some of these dudes, I went back and I was like, you know what? I need to start eating. So all of a sudden at 6 feet tall, I'm carrying 310 pounds on my frame. And I was doing it for the sake of being competitive in that sport. But then, you know, I realized quickly that wasn't something that I could comfortably carry. And I decided to go into powerlifting instead, where they have the weight class separations.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. Can you describe the mindset for someone like my wife and other people out there in the world who don't understand the mindset of this shit is heavy, but I'm going to try to lift it? Can you understand, like, break down that type of mindset for the person at home?
Oh man. You know, for me, it's always been about like, doing something that people say you can't do, or you know, I get it's ego driven to a degree. I mean, when I'm in a gym and I'm lifting something really heavy and I see everybody stop and watch what I'm doing, it's I mean, I can't lie. I mean, that's a big motivating factor. I mean, every kid, you know, every little boy when they're growing up, I mean, you watch He-Man and Superman and the Hulk and all that. I mean, who doesn't want to be stronger than everybody? I mean, that's just bragging rights for the block, man. I mean, every kid wants that. And to actually compete in a sport where you can go and you can try to prove that, that's it's just a mindset where you see the numbers going up, if they're trickling up or if they're shooting up, you see that increase, and it's addictive. It really is.
First lady.
You know, growing up, Steve, we didn't hear too much about powerlifting and things like that. And I remember my brother always wanted to be strong. And the only thing we had at that time was Popeye the Sailor Man. You know, in spinach, he could be Popeye, you know.
Right.
So we didn't have a lot of that like we do now. But my question for you is, with the powerlifting and things like that, you mentioned that you read a lot of magazines and things like that in the beginning to get knowledge of what you're doing. During that process, did you ever hurt yourself? I mean, did you ever have any serious injuries from inexperience?
I lucked out most of the way. I've dealt with a couple shoulder impingement issues, which is basically a nerve getting pinched in between some of the bones and like the structure of the shoulder. I've had that happen like 2 or 3 times, because from what I understand, that's once you do it once, that's like a recurring injury. It'll come back every couple years. I dislocated a rib one time deadlifting when I really didn't have much of an idea what I was doing. Matter of fact, I was deadlifting. The place where I went to deadlift a car, they didn't have the car pulled in. So they had one of those huge, like 600-pound tires. And we took some of the females that were working out at the gym, and they sat along the tire. And like my first try at lifting, it's got like almost a wheelbarrow apparatus to the front that you pull up on the handles, and you lift the weight from the front. And the first time I tried to lift it, I was unsuccessful. And I felt like it was because my footing and everything wasn't right. So the second time I was like, all right, you know, just my mindset is I'm going to get this or I'm going to hurt myself not getting it. And I did make the lift, but I dislocated a rib doing it. And that was only about a week before one of my strongman competitions. So I ended up having to wrap up pretty heavy to just make that competition. But I had done too much training up to that point to where I didn't want to miss the show. So yeah, that's the mentality is, you know, hey, I'm hurt, but I'm still going to do it. I got to make some kind of a showing, because you don't want to waste all that time and effort and energy that you put into the training and then have it not be able to come to fruition at the show.
Right. So how did that work out for you with the injury? How did that competition work out for you? I know you did a lot of extremely prepared for. But that injury, did it set you back?
Oh yeah. Like the deadlift, the car deadlift for repetitions was one of the events there, and I felt like I could have won that particular event, and I ended up placing third in it because um, I could only push past that point of pain so much, and it wasn't even so much the pain as my body just, my body shut down in the middle of doing the reps. It was like, okay, you're just done. They were like, we know you're not going to accept this. So as your body, we are just going to shut down in your best interest.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't compete to the level that I wanted to at that time.
Okay.
Now that's a great question. All right, brother Steve, I'm going for my first event in October. What should I expect walking in the door as a rookie who don't know nothing? The only thing I know, I want to lift some heavy stuff. That's it. I don't know nothing. I see people always talking about this is my opener, this is my close. So what should I know coming into the sport as a rookie? First time.
Very good question. Very good question. First thing you want to, and I hate to be that guy because it sounds like such a cliche, but your first event, just go and have fun, compete with yourself, so you get to learn the ropes as you're coming along. Don't cut weight. So like, let's say, I don't know what you weigh personally. I mean, I know what the weight classes are, but like me, for example, I compete in the 242 pound weight class. I generally walk around at 250, maybe 255, but a week out, I'll start cutting down. I'll make weight. And then after you've made weight, you can weigh, whatever it is you want. You can be back to your normal weight as long as you put the correct nutrients in your body over that next day. Weight comes back quickly. So I would advise you not to shoot for any certain weight class. Whatever your weight is, just be comfortable with that. Enter whatever class you're qualified for there. That's the first thing. A lot of people in their first competition will be worried about cutting weight to make a certain class. That's not a good move for your first time out.
Well, I'm you because I'm going to do the 242
there you go.
Raw bench only. I don't dare lift spot. I'm not gonna do it. I'm too soft. Steve. I'm too soft.
Second thing I tell you, as far as choosing your lifts, generally they'll say take your cleanest lift in training. Don't be unrealistic about it. Don't take a lift where you said you're doing the raw bench only. Take your most controlled, perfect lift. Don't take the one where you bounced it off your chest and you arched your butt off the bench a little bit and you had your buddy touching the bar just a little bit, but you got it all the way up. That's not your training max. You want to go from your cleanest lift. And for your opener, generally you'll try something that's around 85%, 85 to 87% of your first lift. Of your max lift should be your opener. So that should be something you can comfortably get like 3 times, no matter what. On your second lift, you should shoot for somewhere between 92 and 95%. And then on your last lift is where you want to go ahead and go all out, go for your max, go for about 102% on the bench is what they tell you. So if you're a 200-pound bencher, you may want to attempt 205 for your final lift, because a lot of times that adrenaline and things like that can set you just a little bit higher of a level that you've been to before. And, there's a lot of people that set personal records at meets, constantly.
All right. Well, my best lift without no help is right now 355. I know we got a long time between now and October, so that could improve, but just have a sticking point at what should be my opener at 355, clean, no help, no extra BS.
355. Let's see, about close to 87% of that. So let's say 90. That's 270 and 45, 315. You should probably be somewhere around the neighborhood of 315, 320 for your opener.
Okay.
And that's based on the 355. Of course, like you said, October is a couple months away, so there's, all the chance in the world you can add to that. But based on your numbers right now, I'd say I'd open around 320.
That's not bad. Should my wife be concerned for me?
No, I mean, this, I always say that the people that need to be concerned are the people that are, sitting on the couch all the time doing nothing but TV and eating chips and playing video games and drinking liters of Mountain Dew. I mean, they're worried about, people look and say, oh, you're going to hurt yourself lifting 600-700 pounds like that. And I'm like, well, you're going to hurt yourself sitting there, lifting those gallons of ice cream and, not much anything else. I mean, it's easy for people to point the finger and say something's, but like they say, being strong is not dangerous. Being weak is dangerous. Try being weak. So that's dangerous. So that's my philosophy on that. Whenever I hear that argument that, hey, you might get hurt. I mean, you get hit by a car walking across the street to buy your, 6-pack of beer and your gallon of ice cream and your burgers before you're sitting down to watch a binge show on Netflix. So if I'm going to get hurt, I'd rather get hurt doing something phenomenal than be, just sitting around.
First lady?
So I'll keep my life insurance where it is.
You're good. You're good.
No, I do have a question because it was something that you mentioned, and I've noticed this is true even when people are actually just trying to lose weight, where a lot of people that actually have good information don't share. They're not helpful. And I always see that's a problem because most people that's trying to do something just don't know where to start.
True.
So, and I'm noticing that you're giving good information and you're helping Norris figure out what he need to do for his first meet. And that's awesome. And I thank you for that. But why do you think a lot of people hold that information so tight to where they don't want to share to reach back and help someone else get to where they're going?
I mean, it's there are a lot of people that just, for lack of a better term, can be like snobs about it. The one thing I noticed that coming up when I was reading those magazines, I was telling you about, like, powerlifting wasn't big in the magazines. Everything was bodybuilding, get this look, achieve this physique and all that. And like I said, some of the older guys were very closed-lipped and didn't want to divulge their secrets. And I think that's because, somewhere in their head, they have those insecurities where they don't want to get overtaken. I mean, like me, for example, right now, I'm a certified ISSA trainer. Right now, the only client that I have, he's not really a client, is my stepson. And my stepson is going to turn 16 in August. And he was nothing but video games and candy bars and, sitting around and playing Minecraft and all those other names that I don't even know what they are. But I guess about March or April of 2020, he came to me and he decided he wanted to start lifting. So at the time COVID was going on, I have about 600 pounds of weights and a bench down in my carport. So I started working out with him, training him, and he stuck with it. And he went from not being able to bench the bar when he started, which is 45 pounds for those of you that don't know, 45-pound standard Olympic bar. And he can now bench about 205.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. And he's made great strides. And I took him to his first, we did a little bench only competition down at OC Fit. So I'll give a plug here to the owners, Matt and Debbie at OC Fit. That's my home gym here in Ocean City. That's where we get all our training done. And Damien is my stepson. He competed in their bench only competition back in April. And at the time, I believe he hit like 180 pounds with the pause. Good competition rep there. And he's come worlds and strides, and he's going to do his first sanction meet probably sometime later this year as well. And I'm proud to share with him, and anything that he accomplishes, to me, that reflects on me as well positively. That it makes me feel good to know that I'm able to help somebody, whether it be him or any of my friends that reach out to me, any of my clients that I have. When I see them succeed, then it's like you're succeeding on a level yourself as well, because that the knowledge that you've accumulated and the time that you've put in, your methods work for you, they work for others. And it's about giving back. I mean, somewhere along the way, there's been people that have helped me. And like right now, I'm about to my coach for my next meet is going to be the USPA North American Championships out in Houston in November. And there's a man named James Mapp He's a James Maniac Map is what he's known as. He's a younger dude, and he's a top level power lifter, and he's going to coach me for the next 4 months to help me achieve my goals for the North Americans and possibly the World Championships out there in England. And he's a local guy. He's a Salisbury guy. He's young, but he's very knowledgeable, and him being willing to help me. Why can I not help somebody else? You know what I mean? It's all about giving back.
Absolutely.
See, that's what I like to hear, because this fitness world, I'm pretty sure Steve can testify, gets a little shady because there's a lot but I love to see the brotherhood and the compassion to other people because of what you simply like to do.
Right.
I mean, you have a passion for it. You see someone body and mindset change. There's no greater joy than seeing someone you take from ground zero to, wow, you're now here, and I'm so proud of you.
Right.
And you need to do that more often than worry about who taking what substance and who body look like what body percent fat and all the other drama I see in the fitness world. I wish people will reach out and talk more often. Now, Steve, how do you feel about all the dramas going on in our crazy fitness world with every little beef out there?
A lot of it's motivated by money, and I say that because everybody that's got a fitness channel or is a YouTube influencer or whatever, I mean, they're looking for more likes, they're looking for more hits, more generation of money in their pockets. So a big thing going on right now is the fake weights. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Jeff Cavalier.
There's guys literally that have fake weights, and they're attaching it to the regular weights that they're doing and making it look like, it makes a 400-pound lift look like it's a legitimate 600-pound lift, because these plates are designed to look exactly like standard Olympic plates. But if you see a guy and the weight that he's using is not impressive to you, a lot of times, and I mean, it might not even be fair to say that, but the thing is, because all right, take for example, and I'll step out of the subject real quick. In baseball, it's not the greatest players that always make the greatest managers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times you'll have somebody that was a little lackluster or subpar as a player, but they know how to teach and they know the game. Well, the same holds true in the fitness world. There's a lot of guys that aren't, powerhouses, and they can't, bench 500 and deadlift 700, but they still know what they're doing. So the problem is, a lot of people don't want to listen to that guy. They want to look at the guy who's, moving mountains and benching 500 and, squatting 700 and this and that and the other. And those are the only guys they want to listen to. So, these YouTube and fitness influencers and stuff, they'll get their channel and they're like, man, I think I need some more hits. I think it would look a lot better if I was benching 600 than if I was benching 450. So, they buy some of these fake plates and strap them on. Everything looks good. There's a guy right now on the, on YouTube, you can look him up. His name's Brad Castleberry. And
don't mention your name. It should never be mentioned, Steve.
Well, then I mean, you look at the guy. I mean, the guy looks phenomenal, and his physique itself should be able to stand on its own. But somewhere along the way, the guy decided that he's going to start bumping up his numbers. And I mean, if you look at his lifts here on YouTube, the guy would be setting his weight class record in like every lift. So why has he never competed? That's something that's a big red flag. So, yeah. So I think a lot of it's just motivated by money.
All right, First Lady. First and foremost, I know you don't know who Brad Castleberry is.
I do not.
He looks amazing. He looks like,
He does.
But he allegedly, because we never been in the gym with this man. Allegedly, because I don't want no smoke. Allegedly used fake weights. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. We don't want no smoke over here at Unpack Radio.
Okay.
But the stuff he does is amazing, and he never competed on a national stage where you show what you can do.
Okay.
He's only on YouTube doing this stuff. Everybody else in the real world, we come to the real world and we show you what we can do.
Okay.
Brad Castleberry gonna stay at whatever local gym he at where allegedly he sneaks weights.
Allegedly. Okay.
Allegedly. We don't want that smoke, Brad Castleberry.
Right.
All right, First Lady. All right, First Lady.
Okay, Steve, now this is what concerns me sometimes when, just say your stepson, you know, when a lot of young people are starting out lifting weights, trying to tone their bodies, they're trying to do it the right way. But when they start looking at these videos and pictures of other guys that have been lifting weights for years, as my husband called them gods, they start taking protein and what's the other thing you tell me, the
Creatine?
steroids and
No.
things like that. How do you feel about that? Because a lot of the times when someone's trying to do it the natural way, they may not bulk up as quickly or as fast as someone else that's getting assistance.
Right, that's true. I mean, that's always a concern from you know, geez, from time I can remember, you know, there was always high school football players, you know, taking steroids to improve their game and things like that. I mean, years ago when Lyle Alzado from the Raiders came out and said that, you know, steroids gave him cancer and all that, but you had high school kids dying and stuff. That was, I mean, I think that was back in like the late 80s or 90s, because I was still in high school myself when I was reading these articles in Sports Illustrated. Unfortunately, I guess it's like everything else. It's like a lot of people have other issues that lead to things like that. Like you can develop body image issues. I mean,
Right.
I have those myself. Like I still look in the mirror and think I look small. I mean, I was being completely serious when I told somebody, I mean, I live down here at Ocean City. I'll walk on the beach and I'll see some 15-year-old kid with like 13-inch arms. And I'm like, man, is that kid's arms bigger than mine? And like, it literally, that stuff just, it goes through your head. Like no matter how big you get or how strong you get, you feel like you need to improve more. And it's body dysmorphia. And that's a real issue. It's actually, it affects, you know, they talk about all the women who suffered with anorexia and bulimia because of body image issues. I mean, men go through the same thing. And they talk about how unrealistic like the Barbie doll is as a goal for young women. They see something like that, or the supermodels. I mean, look, we grew up with He-Man. Have you ever seen He-Man's physique? Wow. I mean, come on, you know, we have things that we feel like we have to live up to too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is very important for the youngsters out there to discuss all the issues that sometimes your mind can fool you, because you always think to yourself, I want to get bigger. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, you can always get bigger. Like I see this one guy at the job, it looks phenomenal. I'm like, I want that. So you always think in your mind, I want to be someone else. And some people suffer from depression from these issues because you're always fighting your body. Now, Steve, has there been a time where you feel like you were fighting your mind and your body to, this is what I want, but I know it's not going to be good for me in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first case for me was really like packing on the weight for the strong man. You watch the guys on TV and you don't really get a sense of how huge some of these people are, and genetics always plays a part in things. It's not the be all end all, but genetics. Take a look at you know, Half-Thor Julius Bjornsson. He was the Mountain on Game of Thrones, and he was a one-time winner of the world's strongest man. That guy is 6'9" and weighed 440 pounds when he won the title. We just, you know, you and I, we don't have those genetics. I mean, no matter what happens, we're not going to have that kind of frame to support that kind of, you know, strength and weight and body mass. And what me personally, like I said, at 6 feet tall, I mean, I was bumping my weight up to 310, and I was thinking I could still put on, I could put on another 25 or 30 pounds. That was thoroughly unrealistic for me. But I went through a little bit of time where I thought, well, you know, maybe I can do it. And my body rebelled. I mean, I was super strong, but I mean, it bothered me to bend over and tie my shoes. I mean, you know what I mean? So there has to come a point where you realize that you do have some type of limitations. You don't have to have normal limitations where the everyday person would go and oh, well, that's just too heavy. I can't lift that. And they don't even make the attempt. I mean, I'm an advocate of pushing your body as far as you possibly can, because your mind is the only limit. Your body can do pretty much anything. Your mind will tell you when you have to shut down. I mean, there's something called the Golgi tendon in your mind that like tells your body when it's time for you to stop lifting, like how much is too much stress on your body. So you're never going to hit that threshold no matter how hard you push. But I mean, again, realistically, can I at 6 feet tall and 240 pounds expect to do the kind of things that a guy who's 6'9" and 440 pounds do? No, I can't.
That is very true. First Lady.
I have a question for you. I know even starting out to where you are now, I know sometimes you have to keep a positive circle around you and people that have your back, to breathe life into you. During the time from where you started to where you are now, have you ever had people around you that said, you can't do this? Why would you want to do this? People that, there's a lot of jealousy people in the world and a lot of people that don't want to see you win. Have you ever had those people around you that just tried to take the life out of you in your dream?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a quote that will stay in my head like forever and is always a motivator of mine. When I was, I don't know, I guess I was probably in my mid to late 30s, and I was playing on a competitive softball team with, a bunch of friends, and we had a good team. We did a lot of the traveling and everything, competed in lots of tournaments and everything. And I remember at the time I was starting to put on a little too much weight. I was starting to lose some of my abilities. It felt like I wasn't as competitive as I had always been. And a guy's a good friend of mine, actually. His name's Angel Diaz, and he's from the Dominican, where they breed ball players there. I mean, baseball and softball is just a way of life there. And something came up to where I wasn't in the starting lineup one game, and I asked a question about it, and I remember he just popped up and he said, too old, too fat, too slow.
Oh.
And that really, I'm the kind of person that uses that kind of stuff as a motivator. If you tell me I can't do something or I'm not capable of something, that's, I want to prove you wrong. And I remember just like starting to go at things about 10 times harder than I had ever before, just because those words burned in my head. I don't want anybody telling me I'm too old, too fat, too slow at 30 something. And now it's funny because he'll see some of my competition videos and stuff, and he'll post and he'll say, "Oh man, you're doing fantastic. I'm so proud of you." And I always jokingly reply to him with the quote, "Too old, too fat, too slow." And so that's kind of a running thing with him and I. But yeah, there's negativity because people will look and they'll say, you can't do this, or, you must be on something, or I wish I had the time to train like you. Man, if you saw my schedule right now, I'm sitting in my vehicle in front of work. I mean, as soon as I get done here, I'm going in to do my bartending shift tonight. So there's always time if you make time. If you make time for priorities, there's always time. If you have to get up earlier, if you have to go to bed later, if you have to squeeze it in on the run, what's important to you, you'll find time to do.
Absolutely.
I realize in this fitness journey, you have to be a crazy psychopath to stick with it, because there's some days I do 10-hour shifts at work and I'm on my way to the gym. You cannot say there's going to be another time, because then you're going to end up sitting on the couch with your shoulda, coulda, wouldas and wondering why you're not getting where you want to be, and always going to wish that I was stronger.
Right.
And a lot of people make a lot of excuses, but they don't want to get off that couch. And the greatest word, or the greatest dude that ever did this, Ronnie Coleman. Everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift these heavy ass weights.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, wrap-up questions for Brother Steve.
I guess my wrap-up question is, I know you're married. So with your wife, does she work out with you sometimes?
She she does a lot of cardio. I love my wife Jen. I love her to death. She's amazing. She's a nurse. She's a super mom. She's everything in the world. But she refuses to let me train her at all. She does not like being told what to do. So she has often told me, she's like, "Well, I'll let you tell me how to do some of the stuff, but then I want you to leave me alone and I'll do it on my own. So does she go to the gym with me? Yes, she goes and she does her cardio while I'm lifting, but I have definitely not trained her because I don't see that's going to be an oil and water thing, because the first time I tell her she's doing something wrong or whatever, oh man, she's going to tear me up. So, so no, that part of it's not going to happen. But that being said, she's extremely supportive. You know, we recently traveled out to San Antonio for the national championships. I qualified for the North Americans and Worlds, and she's like, you know, hey, she's like, this is your thing. We're going to make this happen. We're going to take the family out. Whatever needs to be done. She's the greatest supporter I could have, and you know, she's very supportive of Damien now too, with you know, her son, my stepson, with you know, him beginning this fitness journey, and we're looking forward to his first sanctioned competition, and you know, keep all that going. So there's no greater support system than at home.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. That's great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited. I have
what competition are you doing in October?
Should be in Ocean City. I think they call it the Beach Bum Classic or something like that.
Yeah, you're going to be at my home gym, the OC Fit that I was telling you about. That's where they're holding that.
Okay. How is it down there?
It's great, man. It's you know, it's been there 2 years. They do a great job having all the necessary equipment. You know, they've actually talked to me about, you know, what I think needs to come into the gym and all that. So they're a great group there, and very, very friendly and accommodating. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. So I'll definitely get to meet you in person there when you come out there.
I will be there because I have to weigh in, I think, on Friday. Then I'm going to
yes, sir.
Take the next day to recuperate, get my body back in order, because I kind of stay around 244. So I ain't got too far to go to get to 242, thank God. Right. But it seemed like it just like it don't like it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And then I wasted a lot of time just being a lazy bum, sitting around the house for a while. And I wish I would have gotten this sport a little earlier in the game, because now I'm 42 years old and I'm an old man. So we're going to see what happens in October. I'm hoping I'm at least around 380 by that time.
Nice.
And I have no expectations on winning because there's a lot of strong people in this world. Like, I see people rapping 405, and I'm just like, how are you doing this? it like, I don't know what type of amazing genetics are out there, but I'm like, literally, I see people at 100. Like they say, they claim they're 220 and rapping 405 for like raps. It'd be amazing. I feel like a little kid sometimes.
Right.
First lady.
I think Steve done answered everything. Just awesome.
What concerns do you have for me? Because
what concerns I have for you?
Because you got the expert right there.
No, I don't. My life insurance is paid up. I'll have your wallet. You know, enjoy Ocean City if anything go left.
List of all his important account numbers. Remember
exactly. I mean, I don't have any concerns because you've been doing this for a while. And then one thing I will say, what you don't know, you do reach out to Steve and those that are in this world. So you're not opposed to learning. You don't seem to act like you know everything. And that's a good thing because no one knows everything. You can always learn something. So, you know, and Steve gave you some good information in the beginning. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, life is always a teachable moment. And I think some people, you know what I mean, are afraid to reach out. You know what I mean? In this game, it can be kind of shady, but I've never been afraid to reach out. It started with Kevin and then it moved to someone else. And it just showed me the world of fitness when you're really, really in it. But they have to respect you, though. Right. They got to respect what you can do. But when you're really in it and they give you like the absolute respect of who you are and your character, it can be like a small, crazy psychopath family. Because I always tell people all the time, who wants to do this to yourself? Who would want to go to work? I'm after work, and I'm tired. I just want to go home. I want to go to my family. No, I'm going to go lift up some heavy stuff and hope it don't fall on me. And then after I do that, the next day I'm going to go lift other heavy stuff just so I can be on stage and do something great. Who would want to do that? You ought to be a
Right.
crazy.
So I'll tell you, there's a great quote there from the late Rich Piana, and he said most of the regular world couldn't do what we do. We tear ourselves down a little bit every day just to make ourselves better.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately, he passed, and
Wow.
he was jacked,
Mm.
jack, dude. Unfortunately, died too young. Now, Steve, are you concerned with all the deaths that we see in the fitness world because of the abuse that some people put on their body? That's a great closeout question.
Yeah, I mean, it's always concerning, and it's mostly concerning to see people take things to the level of abuse. The pro bodybuilders. Originally the worry was steroids, and then they started messing with diuretics and insulin and all kind of other things that can just, they can't be toyed with. And for people to feel the need to do that to compete, it's unfortunate because it's a black eye on the sport, but it's, as a whole, I don't think it's reflective of the sport at all. But that small percentage obviously is going to get magnified, and unfortunately, a lot of times that's the look that people have from the outside. They automatically assume, you're a bodybuilder, powerlifter, strongman, weightlifter, whatever you are. You're some type of performance enhancing drug abuser, but it's just not the case.
Nope, all natural. Just me, myself, and Jesus and willpower. Now, what do you have to say to the young people come behind us who may be interested in the sport of bodylifting, with powerlifting, body, making your body look like whatever you want to make your body look like? What do you have to say to that person who may feel uninspired? And somebody right now telling them you can't do it. So what do you have to say to them?
The main thing is, you, and I hate to be cliche again, but you can do anything you set your mind to. And the important thing is to remember that, progress comes daily and slowly and steadily, and its consistency is the key. There is no 6-week plan to be a strong man, or 6-week plan to be ripped, or 6-week plan to win your first competition. I mean, it's just not. It's a body of work put together over months and years, and I think it's you just have to realize that it's not instant gratification as much as we want it, but you stay consistent, man, and you can really continue to improve well into your 30s and 40s and beyond. And that's an amazing thing, to walk around and get mistaken for 30 years old and be stronger than 90% of the 25-year-olds in the gym and all that kind of stuff. That's its own reward when you've put in that kind of work.
All right, Steve, where can people find you if they want any help, any assistance? Where can they locate you at?
You can look me up on Facebook. I'm sure you've got my name there on your page, and Instagram is going to be Russian Viking 72.
I like that name. That's cool. That's cool.
That's my heritage. I'm half Russian, half Swedish. So
I like that. Steve, first and foremost, man, thank you. Because like I said in the beginning, we don't know each other. We never met in person. And I think I only spoke to you one time, and that was on like a fitness post. Right. And I reached out to you, you reached back to me. And that's what I love about this world of fitness. And sometimes social media can be useful for the right thing. Because sometimes social media get a little weird. But if you use it for the right reasons, you can make amazing things happen. And I think that's a life lesson for today. I can reach out to you, the next person can reach out, and then you can grow a family just from being welcoming.
You know it. There was, and I'll close with this. There were some guys out in San Antonio for the Nationals that I had only met through Facebook, through just common lifting interests, and they were competing out there as well. And I was unable to have a coach or anybody with me, and one of those guys actually came out and helped be my spotter for the day that I was competing. And it was the first time I'd ever met him face to face, but it was like we'd known each other 20 years. So it's a really good community, and everybody, the ones who are serious about it, we care about each other. And it's one of those rare sports where you do well and then you're cheering for the next guy to beat you. It's strange.
Right.
Oh well, hey, that is something I don't have. So maybe I'll reach out to you because I don't have a spotter. So,
I live 10 blocks from there, man. So I think we'll be all right.
it's a date, my friend. It's a date. First glass of beer is on me after we wrap everything up.
Thank you guys so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak about the sport that I love.
No problem, Stephen. Good luck to your stepson and his competition coming up.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining Unpack Radio. We'll see you next time on Unpack Radio. Who do we have, Kimberly? Because you set this one up.
Denise Knorr from Ready to Love.
That should be interesting. So all you Ready to Love fans, get ready to love. Thank you, brother Steve. Thank you to everybody in the fitness space because it's truly, truly one of my favorite families when it's not being shady. We'll see you next time on Unpack Radio. Salute.